That's okay. It just has to be what it's going to be. All right, so I'm Garrett with IDC Woodcraft, and this is a little discussion about the Altmill CNC Router for those who have questions about it, and talk to you a little bit about where I'm at, the construction of this thing, some of the things I went through as I was building it, uh, if there were challenges, how this machine runs in its initial setup. So I'm just going to kind of dive into this. Is anybody jumping on board yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So let's talk about the Altmill CNC router put out by Sienci Labs. It's the same company that makes the long mill benchtop CNC router. And the Altmill is a machine that has been built for the 48-inch by 48-inch market. Those who want to have that half board capability of a 4 foot by foot sheet of material, and you want to be able to work on it. So the Altmill is a pretty robust machine. Well, quite robust. When I received it, it came in 4 boxes. Uh, 2 of the boxes carried the framework. One of the boxes carried the brains of the machine, and another box carried the spindle. And so the boxes did see a little bit of damage during shipment, but everything was packaged in such a way that that it was very well protected, so nothing was damaged in shipment. And the instructions for this thing were actually well done. They are online and step-by-step type of instructions. But the first thing I figured out as I started to assemble this thing was I needed some kind of work surface to work off of. I don't have a big workbench, so I had to build a temporary workbench that would be accommodate this framework here, which is larger than 48 by 48. For anybody who's jumped on, we were just talking about the Altmill CNC router from Sienci Labs. I don't have it completely running yet. I do have it running, but I haven't carved anything. There's a couple more things I have to do. So this whole thing is a Q&A about what I have done so far and discovered about the Altmill. Yeah, so let's talk about the machine. First of all, we got anybody on board?
Yeah, we got 14 people hopped
14
in.
people. Hello, brothers and sisters, CNC brothers and sisters. Okay, so for those people who are just jumping on, it's about the Altmill. We're going to talk about what I've done. Be sure to ask your questions in the comments so that Adam here, who's doing everything, can ask me what you're asking because I can't see the camera. But first, let's talk about the Altmill CNC router. Again, it's designed and built by a company called Sienci Labs, are the same ones that build the long mill benchtop CNC router, which I have done many, many videos on. I used to have a Phantom CNC router, which is a 4 foot by 4 foot machine. It's designed more for production, which I don't do. I do more teaching and more just kind of hobby work. So one of the reasons I decided to go with the Altmill, well, first of all, one of the reasons the Altmill was designed was to accommodate the 48 by 48 market. Shapeoko has a 4 foot by 4 foot cutting machine. Onefinity has the same thing. I believe Millwright has one of those. CNC Labs naturally needed to get into the market, and so they did. So the assembly of this machine took me about 5.5 hours. Partially, some of the stuff with that was just because it's a large machine. I had to move things around. Might have been a little bit shorter if it was a bit smaller. The machine is a ball screw machine. All of the axes are ball screw driven. These are 16 millimeter ball screws. So that's about just shy of 3/4 of an inch. The Z is a 12.5 a 12 millimeter ball screw, I'm assuming, just by looking at it. I didn't measure it, but that would be about 1/2 an inch. It actually looks maybe a little bit bigger. And of course, it's got a spindle on here. I'm not sure what the kilowatt is on the spindle. The spindle is actually an upgrade. You can buy the machine without the spindle if you wanted to, or not. It is linear bearing driven, or the drive system is linear bearings, right? Everything rides on linear rails here, so it's these guys right here, right? And so on the x-axis there's 2, on the z-axis there's 2, and there's 1 on each y-axis, which is on the side of the machine there. And one of the interesting things, well, several interesting things about this machine that attracted me to it when I was talking to CNC Labs. I knew they were designing it. Number one is the acceleration of the machine. And what that means is if you've done a 3D carve, then you know that 3D carves tend to take quite a bit longer. And that is because of the machine having to move up and down, in and out, and all those motions, it has to decelerate and stop to change direction. And then it has to accelerate again. And so that consumes a lot of time in complicated 3D carves. So they focused heavily on that acceleration, deceleration to shorten the acceleration deceleration curve. So I'm really interested in that. The number two thing is the motors, the drive motors. So these are NEMA 23 motors, but if you have a CNC router, you're going to notice that there's two sets of wires that are going into these. And what that is a closed loop system. And what that means is if the machine loses position, it's going to stop. So in most of the benchtop CNC routers, if it loses position or loses steps, that's another way of putting it, where it loses position, it'll just keep going on, it's thinking that it's in the same position because there's no feedback going back to the controller. These things are taken in the code and they know exactly how they should turn as far as steps, and if a step gets missed for some reason, then the machine will stop because this closed loop system is going to tell the control that something's wrong. All right, the controls are mounted right into the leg here. You got the spindle control right here, and you got the brains of the machine right here. That's the super long board, which is kind of compatible to the Masso. And then, of course, the power supply is down below that. And there's an E-stop right there. The width of this bed here is 52 inches. Was it 52?
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, 52 inches. The depth of the bed for the framework is 58 inches from end to end of the machine. And of course, so that doesn't fit your 48-inch wide piece of MDF. Now, this MDF I have on here is it's a baseboard, right? So I'm going to put another spoil board on top of here. I don't know if I'm going to be using T-track or what yet. Still figuring it out. I want to talk to you about just a couple things I ran into when I was assembling this. Number one was, I think it was just a general mistake that somebody made. Over here, there's these dust guards, dust guards right here, this little piece of stainless steel sheet, and that's just meant to keep the sawdust off of the ball screw. And one of them had a little bit of rollover, like someone, I don't know, like they were cutting it with hand shears, and so it had a little bit of a burr. I had to clean that off. That's not normal, and I'm sure that was unintentional. That you won't get your Altmill like that. The other thing was wire management. So come around this side, Adam. And what I mean by wire management is when you get all the wires hooked up and they're all hooked up into the brains, then you got lots of extra wire. So the instructions didn't tell me how to handle the wires, so I had to figure it out. And I just zip tied it to the original wires that were running back through there. What I thought was kind of cool is they designed and printed, 3D printed, some brackets that you can clip right into the framework underneath and then put zip ties and run your wires that way. So that was pretty cool. The MDF board, this base board, so I made it longer than the machine. It's about 6-7 inches longer, runs off the edge, and the reason I did that is because the Y motors stick off the back of the frame, and if I slid this thing back against the wall, I didn't want to run the motors into the wall. I've got something to protect it. So the other thing, so I guess that's kind of it. Leveling it, it's got leveling feet on all fours, and the framing is really rigid. After you screw everything in, the framing is just very solid. It doesn't want to twist on you. It's all aluminum frame. And so I leveled it, this way, I leveled it this way, and I leveled it that way, checking, because I want to check for any, warpage or anything like that. And so it took about maybe half an hour to get everything leveled up underneath the machine, inside. One of the things I'd recommend if you get an Altmill is to make sure you have a work surface. At least for someone like me, I don't want to be crawling on my knees building this thing on the floor. So, and you need a fairly large work surface. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this thing on, and I want to show you how fast this thing runs in its rapid mode. The homing sequence, it comes with homing sensors on each axis. It has 2 homing sensors on the Y, and the home position is the back left corner, which I really like. Most companies make their home in the front left corner, and then we naturally have to move the machine back to start working on it. So the CNC Labs defaulted it to the back left corner, which I really like. There is a sensor, homing sensor on both Y-axes. So what it's doing is when it homes, it's checking to make sure that the gantry isn't torqued out of position. So we're going to turn this thing on. Let's see, I'm going to come around here so we can just see how we power this thing up. Then we'll start handling some questions after we send it home. So I got to clip that back in, a piece of plastic there, but now they've got everything hooked up. We turn on the power switch, and then we hit the e-stop and pop the e-stop out. You want to see that red light right there, and that way we know that it's e-stop has been activated, and the control box has seen that the e-stop is activated. So come on back around, Adam. And so where I am using G-Sender, and I'm using a different version of G-Sender. So with the Altmill, well, first of all, there are 2 kind of sub-versions of G-Sender. Well, it's Gerbil, GRBL, really. G-Sender is just the control platform. GRBL, the one that we've known, is very limited as far as being able to integrate other things. If we want to add in coolant or a touch plate somewhere over here that's a fixed touch plate or something to that effect, adding a misting feature. There's another GRBL platform that's been worked on, and it is called GRBL HAL, or we call it Gerbil HAL. And that is one where you can add a lot of features to it. And Long Mill, sorry, I call them Long Mill still, it's a bad habit, CNC Labs, they make the Long Mill. They have designed the super long board to be somewhat compatible with the Masso board, right? So when I say compatible, meaning it's capable of having industrial level controls like the Masso that you find on the Onefinity. So that's very cool. They're still working on options for that. And it's kind of an open source thing, so a lot of people can do stuff like that. So okay, so we got it turned on. I want to make sure I'm on Gerbil HAL, and the way we do that, we're looking at the G-Sender, is we want to come down to the firmware. When I pop that open, you'll, oops, click that. You see GRBL and GRBL HAL, right? So we want to make sure if we're doing the Altmill, we want to be on GRBL HAL. And if you're doing your other benchtop, you're on GRBL. So the Gerbil HAL is available on G-Sender for 1.4.8 version, which if you're using G-Sender and you want to upgrade to this, then you want to upgrade your G-Sender. I don't know if Gerbil HAL works with your current machine, if you have a Long Mill, Onefinity, whatever. But it's more advanced. And so once we're hooked up to that, then we're just going to connect to the machine. Well, let's see, okay, everything's turned on. And so we come up with an alarm, and that's what we should, because it has to home the machine. So it's an alarm 10. And I'm going to reset that alarm. And we're going to just send the machine home. And so this is how fast the homing sequence is. Can you do me a favor, pull that off the table, please? Thank you. So I have a, okay, so now the machine is home. I got green light in the box. One of the things that the developers of G-Sender know is there's a little alarm that comes up right down here in the corner when you're sending it home. It doesn't interfere with the operation of the machine, but they're aware of it. It's just a little fix that will come out in the next version. So I have a little program. I like to break my CNC router in whenever I get it assembled, which I do recommend that you do. I'm doing a review video on this once everything's done and up and running. And in that review, I will have the break-in cycle program for you. So we're going to run that though, so you can see how fast the rapid is on this machine. So here we go. You got that camera on? Here we go. Rock and roll. So this is covering 48 inches by 48 inches, and part of the break-in cycle is it's moving all axes, and you can see the Z is going up and down as it's going across. Very fast. And I don't know what the rapid rate is on this. What it's saying here is 600 inches per minute is what it's reading on the G-Sender. All right, so we're going to stop it. Okay, so we stopped that, and so with that, you know, I'm very close to getting this thing to run. Just got to decide if I'm going to use T-Track or some other way for my main spoil board. So what are some questions that are coming up on this machine?
We've mostly got questions about how it compares to other machines.
Well, okay, so let's see. One of the other things that makes me want to check out this machine is the price point. First of all, we'll talk about that. The Altmill price point is what, $29.99, something like that, $3,000. If you want to get the spindle attachment, I believe it's another $600. That puts it at the lowest price point for machines this size. Sometimes that bothers people. They think they're buying cheap, you know, that's cheap. But me personally, knowing how CNC Labs operates, one of the things is they want to make equipment affordable yet high quality, and they're not promotional, I guess is a good way of putting it. They're not always trying to promote, hey, I got the greatest machine. They just want to make good quality stuff. They've written the G-Sender software. They've built the long mill. They got lots of resources. So that's one of the things. I don't necessarily know how it compares to like Onefinity or Shapeoko outside of the price points, because I haven't really worked with those machines. I know that they're good machines as well. So that's the best I can answer at this point on that question. What's another question?
Someone mentioned the shelves, like there's a built-in area for shelves.
Yeah. So what they've done is when they built this, they created legs that are just made for the machine, and so the legs are part of the purchase, and so you get all the hardware for it, you get the legs for it, and crap, I just forgot the question. What was the question?
They just had mentioned that there was some built-in screw holes.
Yeah. So we got screw holes all the way up and down, so you can actually create shelves, and basically you can put 2 shelves in here, which I'm going to do. The screw hole's already there, so you don't have to drill into the plate. That's kind of a cool little feature. Let's see. I think I said it took about 5.5 hours to assemble it. It took about 20 minutes to 30 minutes to level it, and then of course another maybe hour to get this subboard on there. What's another question?
Let's see here.
Adam's looking through the feed. What are you doing now? I'm going to find my coffee. Where'd I put it at?
Honestly, it looks like just a lot of people praising CNC Labs, saying it's a great price.
It is a really good price.
Jake says, wow, what an amazing machine. Great price point.
Yeah, it is. I'm actually really surprised. They're kind of pricing themselves out of the long mill benchtop right? So let's come over to the
Yeah.
long mill just so people already know that I run the long mill here, and I've done a lot of content on it. And so this is one where you actually have to build your own table for it, the whole thing, which is what I've done here. Does anybody know about this?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah,
Anybody know what this is?
yeah. See if you know what this is. In the meantime, any other questions on the?
Let's see. How is it in squaring when building?
Okay, so I have not. That's the one thing I haven't done is check the square, right? So you don't want to check the square until after you build it. And the way I'm going to do that is the same way I did it with the long mill here. Is I am going to drill 4 points. I'm going to take the 1/8" lightning bit. I'm going to write up a program that's going to drill it at maybe 36 square. And then I'm going to tape measure across diagonally and see how square it is or how unsquare it is. And that will tell me if I need to adjust the sensors, the homing sensors on it. We can come in here really quick. I'm going to send it back home. Let's go to X and let's go to Y. And then we're just going to come over here to the proximity sensors. So the sensors, you might want to come around just a little bit. Not a lot of light in here, but here's the sensor right here. And basically what I did is, well, they give you instructions how to set the sensor as far as the distance. And then, so I just positioned it where I thought it would be, and now I just have to drill my square and measure it off. So I can't answer that question yet.
That was another quick question, was how step by step are the instructions?
Oh, so the instructions were really good. So this is machine number 25, right? So it's a first walkthrough through the instructions, and Sienci Labs did put out a survey request, to give feedback on the thing. So I did exactly that. I just did step by step because I wanted to know how you would go through it. So I just wanted to make sure. So they were really good. There was 2 things. One was the wire management, and the other absolutely clear how the control box mounted on here. The control box itself mounting was okay. It just wasn't clear where, whether it was on this leg or the back leg. And so, that's what they did the survey for, so they can improve it. So wire management and that control box, what corner everything was on. That's it. Otherwise, it was really good. It was all picture. It told you what bolts and nuts to use. And I'm sure they've upgraded those instructions already.
And it looks like people were familiar with this vacuum plate.
They were?
They were. They were calling it a vacuum.
Good, excellent. All right, the CNC brothers know what they're doing. Yeah. So this is, some of you may have seen the video I just put out the other day, which walks you through this whole vacuum system. I'll sidestep the Altmill real quick to talk about this. So vacuum systems are used in industries, industrial CNC routers. And they're beneficial because they suck air through the machine, through the MDF bed, and the companies, they'll have pre-cut things, and they'll just drop them on, turn on the vacuum, cut it, the vacuum will turn off. That's the type of addition that you can find on the super longboard, that type of feature where it'll turn on and off the vacuum by itself. And then you can take the part off and replace it. So if you wanted something like this for your benchtop CNC routers, like the Longmill, Onefinity, whatever, you had to make them up until Airweights developed this. And after this video, I'll put a link down in the description so you can go take a look at their website. If you decide to get one, I do ask you to use that link. Now, there are not, I get lots of stuff from companies, lots of requests from companies to check out their products. And when I saw this, I wanted to check this out, so I contacted Airweights, mainly because it's the first vacuum system that was built for the benchtop units. And so I bought this setup here and started to play with it. And this is like you can throw away your clamps almost and your CA glue because it's so quick. I want to show you really quick what happened. I actually just got finished shooting another video because in that video, people were saying, well, this is worthless for actually cutting a project out. And so, because you'll cut into the table here. And so I just wanted to address that. I created a video where we wasted a bunch of projects actually doing just that, right? Doing cutouts, cutting right through the project into the board and making sure the vacuum would work. You can see all my cut channels right here. As long as we don't cut through down below the main channels there, then we're in good shape. But I just want to show you this thing. I love this. All right, we're going to drop that down there, and there it is. I like that. And then if you want to switch over to another project, then you can go put a bigger seal in there, and then take the project off, and then put another one on, and go back to town again after you get your zero set. Beautiful. This is buying you speed, right? That's what these things are doing. So go check that video out. We'll link that down in the description of this when we're done. And then it might be worthwhile checking out and getting. Again, just use the link if the one I have. That would be very helpful. Okay, other questions about the Altmill?
Let's see. Someone asked, what CAD program can you use on that machine? I'm assuming they're talking about the Altmill.
CAD program. Well, you can use any CAD program that can generate. So, okay. I use Vectric, right? Vectric VCarve Pro. And that's the software I recommend. It's a CAD program. In it is combined with the CAM side, right? Generating the tool paths of for the router bits. And then it will generate the G code as well that actually tells the machine how to move around. But you can use any CAD program that can be imported into a CAM program that will generate the G code as long as you're using the right post processor for the various machines. This one uses, I'm still using the same one, the GRBL millimeter is what you think you need to be using with this one.
We got a howdy from Texas, y'all.
What's going on, Tex?
From Michael Myers.
Oh, Mike. What's going on, Mike? What else we got?
Let's see here.
How many people we got on board?
We've got 24 people on board.
Brothers, we'll just say hello to your brothers. Put in the comments, hey, CNC brothers and sisters.
Let's see.
Any other questions here?
The questions kind of petered out there for a second.
Okay.
Anybody got new questions? I mean, you got the expert right here.
Yep, you got it right here. Any other CNC questions you want to ask as well? So, in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run once I get my spoil board done, I'm going to run a base program. Well, the first one, I'm going to do the squaring program before I put the spoil board on. And make sure it's square. And then I will put the spoil board on. Then I will do a basic program. I'm going to do a circle and a square, because I want to make sure that a 6-inch square is a 6-inch square, and a 5-inch circle is a 5-inch circle. And I'll probably do multiple squares, upsize to make sure it's holding its ratios. So, as a matter of fact, I will definitely do that, because it's one of the things you want to do. And also, you want to break your machines in. What else you got?
All right, let's see. I was planning to go to the Shipoko 5 Pro 2x4, but I don't think after seeing this, doing some reading while watching, I will likely go for CNC, because it appears to be more robust at each aspect of design.
Okay, yeah, it's a pretty heavy machine. If you decide to get it, I do have an affiliate link for this as well. So I'd ask you just to use that. We'll link that down below. Let's see, let's talk about the tracks, all right? So the wire tracks. So the wire comes around the front here. That's one thing I probably would not want. So you can probably bring it around the side, but it doesn't stick out. So I'll never run into it. And then, but I had to figure out, where am I going to tie this in at? So I just figured that out. But the track was all designed well. Over here, it's designed well, and the The track actually, when you go to the full extension, the full side of the, like you bring the X all the way over here, this drag chain is going to be hanging out the side of your machine about this far, maybe 6, 7 inches. Same with the back. It's all the way back right now. It's not hanging out any further than the back of this board that I did. When I did the board, I had to buy some 1/2-inch screws to secure it from the bottom. There are holes in the framing here that I just drilled the pilot holes through the frame and screwed in. There are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 screws per frame, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ribs there.
Let's see, we got Dennis TM says
What's up, Dennis?
he's a newbie to CNC, currently running G-code via laptop.
Okay.
Can this be run off a junk drive? And if so, what program is loaded in the controller, or can you load your own?
I don't know. I honestly can't answer that. I don't know, but it's a good question, and I'll make note of that. If you can run it straight off of a jump drive. These, though, I think this is designed, well, okay, I can't answer that. So G-Sender is the interface, that's your control interface for the machine, which means for you to run the machine, you have to use G-Sender. So, or any other control that's control software that's compatible with this machine, the GRBL HOWL. So the good thing is the GRBL software is not like processor intensive. And what that means is you don't need an expensive laptop. You can find a $200 laptop and just dedicate it to the machine. But if you have your design software on that laptop, then it's the design software is a bit more process intensive, so you'd need a better laptop. The one I got here is a gaming laptop. It's $2,000. You don't need that expensive of a laptop for your CNC design software. I have that because I did a lot of video editing on it, and that's intensive. What else you got?
Let's see. This is a big deal for me. I like that it is just a half sheet MDF for the bed. The hybrid table from Carbide is kind of a hassle.
Okay. So the Carbide, I think that's the X-Carve CNC routers. So I don't know what they have, but yeah. But of course, you got to buy this. This board does not come with the machine. It's too costly for them to ship that kind of stuff. So you need to go to your hardware store and get the MDF. The weird thing was the hardware store here, they were out of MDF. They hadn't had it in 2 months. We had to go we had to drive 60 miles to the next hardware store to get our MDF. What else you got?
Let's see, are there any bit setters of any kind for it to set Z or find corners?
Oh, I like that. I like that question. So I don't know, but I know that the board is capable of taking on a bit setter protocol. That's something we can ask Sienci Labs, but they have designed the super long board so that it can accommodate that. One of the things I'm going to do is go to an automatic tool changer. I really, really want one of those, and I have talked to them about that. So that's the thing with the super long board is those types of plugins can be added. I just personally don't know if that's available yet, but I'm almost certain that it is. Bit setting companies that make those, that promote them directly, I'm sure they're going to have the stuff you need to make that happen.
All right. We're running a little sparse on questions, gang.
All right, well, let's go talk to the girls.
All righty.
So just remember in the link in the description, we will put links for the Altmill. I'll put it for the Airweights vacuum table. Definitely go watch that video. And for those of you who aren't familiar with how we run things back here, this is where you get your CNC router bits from. This is where we manage the entire business of CNC router bits and accessory stuff that you buy directly from IDC Woodcraft. So what you're seeing here is Liberty, the girl that packages your stuff up and writes those notes to you.
And makes videos of her own.
And makes videos of her own now. And so she also creates content on IDC Woodcraft. Right now we are labeling these Brushes, we got a bunch of those in. These are sanding brushes. If you've done CNC projects, you know that you have to do a lot of sanding. These are something you attach to your Dremel, and they sand everything for you very quickly. Basically, they're Scotch-Brite, and so it doesn't scratch up your project like sanding does. There's different grits. These will be back online in the IDC Woodcraft store very soon. If you're interested in getting them, then go to the IDC Woodcraft website, type in brush in the search bar, and then you'll come up. And if you see the little red button that says notify me when stock is back, click that red button. We got kind of hammered the last time we had these things that when we got sold out, so we had to go back to our supplier. We need more. And then over here is Julianne. She's the administrator for IDC Woodcraft. What are you working on right now?
Stuff that you're not allowed to see.
Yeah. Oh, to
Don't
get that
look
camera
over there.
out
Don't
of
look over
there.
there.
Brothers and sisters, you can't see that stuff. So we're always coming up with new tooling. I do a lot of tooling design to improve tooling, the things to eliminate tear out. Like I did a new ball nose design, 1/4-inch ball nose. If you ever use it, you get a bunch of tear out and you got to sand all that crap. This new ball nose design, beautiful. So,
Wade says he's amazed at the speed of the Altmill. His CNC has the same ball screws and is slow by comparison.
really, yeah. That was one of the main focuses. They wanted to get as much speed out of it as they could, so that has to do with voltage and power going to the motors themselves and what the board can provide. This is all our shipping inventory right here. So when Liberty does her packaging, this is what she works from, and then we have our overflow over here, and then we've got more stuff around. And back behind there that's our coffee mug storage. Over here is where, so when you first time order, if you order over $100, you get a coffee mug, is that right? I don't even remember anymore. These guys got it so under control. This is where Adam works, the guy that's holding the camera. This is where he does the video editing. He's got a long mill dedicated to himself. He doesn't cut a single thing. This is just where he takes pictures at, so he moves the machine around as he needs.
Got to stage him.
And the team, we often talk.
Liberty. Let's see. It was Peterson Country Woodworking, aka Troy, says hi, Liberty.
Hi, Peterson.
Love all the notes and love all the notes on all the bits I receive.
Yeah.
Wanted to sneak that in there.
Yep, when you order a package, you always get a note and some M&Ms. So we do a lot of meetings, enough meetings. We do brainstorming, and so we work on the board here as we're doing that. So that's the stuff. So that's the back end of IDC Woodcraft, and hanging around here are projects that people have sent to us. They've got, I don't remember who's sending it. It's not pulling it out of my brain right now. This is called an outlay, not an inlay, an outlay. And then here's one, the Badger, which is cool. And there's another one, the Badger clock. We hang that over Adam's station because he likes clocks. And got another one here from a little inlay board here, epoxy pour. What's that?
It's from Kevin.
Kevin, yep, from Kevin. And then we got another one down there. All right, it's so cool when people do that. There's our little sign that the whole mode of IDC Woodcraft always know that there's somebody on the other side, people. And so it's just a reminder, make you feel special.
Jake says, you have a nice workspace there, sir.
Yeah, I want to paint it. It feels a little, what do we call this, Liberty?
The dungeon.
The dungeon. I've been wanting to paint this for about a year. So, yeah. All right, let's go on back out to the shop, and then we'll end this because it's a Friday, and I'm going to be hanging out with Sarah. We're going to go to the pool, and then we're going to go to a boat on the river and hang out and have a couple drinks of water.
Yeah, I'm sure it's water.
Yes. Any other questions on the Altmill or on the air weights unit before we check out for the weekend?
Seems like it's a lot of comparison,
Yeah.
which, I mean, You mostly used the long mill, and you had the
Oh, I
had the
can't. I can't
Phantom.
compare the long mill to this one. There's no comparison between
Yeah.
the two, right? They're very different machines.
Well, it's a lot of comparison between like the Shipokos and the millwrights, and we just don't have as much experience with those.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have those machines. I've actually debated buying those so I can do side by side. Um, that's going to take a little bit of time, and I don't necessarily have the space right now to do that, unfortunately. And remember, it's just more cash. And what would I do? Four, four, four machines this size, and it's just me. They sit around idle for a lot anyway. So because I don't produce, I teach.
It says, tell Garrett about what Joseph said. There is an auto zero touch plate bit setter by CNC. It finds the corners and the Z's. There we go.
Yeah, they got the Auto Zero Touch, but I got that. So I think what that person was talking about is, or at least what I was thinking they were talking about, was having a fixed plate. So this is their corner plate right there. All right, so that's one, and then they have the Auto Zero Touch plate, which is a little bit modified, so you can. I got to straighten here. It is. I got to straighten things up. It is right there. That's another one here, and this is designed so you can zero out your V bits and your ball nose just using a touch plate. So, what else?
Let's see. Jake says, so in your opinion, is the Altmill worth the price?
Price-wise, so far, yes. Speed-wise, yes. As far as cut, I don't know yet. Overall, the rigidity of the machine seems really good. I mean, good and rigid. What was kind of nice when I opened this thing up, the Z carriage assembly is already built, and basically all I had to do was put this on and mount the motors, put the spindle on, and heavy, stocky. It's all steel. Right, that was nice. The framing is all extrusion, pretty thick extrusion, by the way, too.
Well, Jake followed that up with, I knew the answer. CNC. CNC is an amazing company. I highly recommend them to anyone on the fence about getting an alt mill or a long mill.
Okay.
So you already knew the answer. Why'd you ask the question?
He just wanted to get confirmation on it, dude. Yeah, sometimes it's nice to be able to hear it from other people. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. So far, price-wise, as I went through the assembly of this thing, I thought the design was well thought out. 5.5 hours to assemble it. It took a little while, so you want to plan some time. And just, yeah, but they provided all the tools you need too. All the tools, all the wrenches. They kept it simple. You had 2 Allen wrenches, and then there's then they provided the 2 wrenches for the spindle, and I think it's an ER16 spindle, and they gave you there's 2 collets there, and I don't know if there's a collet in here. So the ER16 can handle 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, and 3/8 inch. There's a 1/4 inch in here, and I'm going to assume these are, having a look, I've got an 1/8 inch and a 3/8 inch. Yep, cool. IDC Woodcraft will be carrying ERs shortly as well. What else? Any other questions?
James asks if you are planning to move your PWN spindle to the alt mill.
Over here? Well, so I got the spindle with the alt mill that CNC Labs provides because I wanted to compare what someone would get if they opted to buy the spindle from them as opposed to upgrading from the PWN. Perhaps, but not right now. Right now, I'm just going to be messing around with this one, the one that they provide.
Let's see here. What else is already built when you receive it, or do you need to? Or do you need to do full construction outside of the Z assembly?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So all the linear rails are already mounted on the framework. So these guys right here are mounted. The ball screws are mounted on all elements of the machine. The entire Z-axis is assembled. Yeah, other than that, you got to put everything together. One thing I did find was I had to remove the screws on the ball screw here, just because of the way I had to access holes to screw in the back there. So that was, and there wasn't a wrench for that because it took a wrench, a 6mm wrench to take those bolts out.
Let's see. Oh, this was a follow-up to moving. Let's see. I think this is a follow-up to moving your PWN spindle.
Okay.
Maybe not. Let's see.
Yeah. Perhaps later, but not now.
let's see.
Not now. We're going to work with what you can get from CNC Labs.
My next question, being a Canadian company, I was wondering whether they are using metric tooling or standard.
So the hardware, the bolts that pull together are metric. Again, you'll get the wrenches with it. And basically the US and a couple other countries are the only ones that use imperial. So yeah, all the hardware here is metric. It's all provided, surplus of hardware. But I wasn't, a huge surplus. It's like, good, I got all kinds of new hardware. Oh, they also included the dust boot with it. But here's all the extra hardware right there. But everything's already put together. As I was assembling it, it's pretty obvious I didn't need any other, I didn't miss anything. I'm gonna turn this off.
All right, let's see here. Is it a 240 volt machine or a or spindle?
Everything's 120.
120. All right.
Spindle kilowatt. I'm not sure what it is. Let's see if it says it on there.
And last question from Jake. Did they upgrade wheels and such from the long mill?
Oh yeah, this is all bearing. It's all ball screw and linear bearings. So it's no V wheels, no plastic wheels on it.
And what about the anti-backlash nuts?
So there are no anti-backlash nuts on this. They are using the bearing blocks that are used for the ball screws, and so you don't really need it.
Let's see.
I don't know if you can.
Yeah. I
So
think.
come on around. You can see the bearing blocks.
There we go.
It shows if you can zoom into it right there. So that's the bearing block right there.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, for the ball screw. So ball screws. Does this have maintenance access to it?
Oh boy.
On stuff like this, there's a little more maintenance when you have ball screws. And if you damage it, of course, it's going to be more costly, but it's pretty hard to damage a ball screw. All right, I'll take a couple more questions and I'm going to log off because my girlfriend is waiting for me. We're going to go hang out at the new pool down the street here, the community pool.
All right, unless something compelling comes along in the next 6 to 12 months, this is my choice for the GOAT in this footprint / price, hands down.
Okay. Yeah, I will say I do know that they had the first 50 and they ordered another 150 and they're already ordering more, so I don't know if all the first 200 are committed or not. So you'll have to get with them, but there will be a little bit of a wait before you get it. But the good thing is you can practice a lot with the design software, which is what you should do first. And I always recommend the Vectric. That's what I use. Of course, Carveco, Fusion 360, they're all good. And it's just what I use. Okay, so any other questions? We're going to take one more.
All right, we can take one more from Andy.
Hey, Andy.
Did they send cross beams for the bottom of the legs, and did you not install them?
Okay, so there are no cross beams. So the construction
that was cross, not crass.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cross. So so I see what he's saying. He's looking for this. He's seeing that the ability to wobble. So, like on this table here, I built the trusses in here to keep the wobble off of that table for my long mill. But here, their way they did it. Number one, these are like 3mm plates, and they are bolted in on the corner like that. So that takes that out, and because everything's cornered all the way down, you don't have that wobble. Bring the camera underneath so they can see what it looks like underneath. And look up at the top. There you can see the framework there.
Yeah. See all those?
Yep, and then where the spindle is, let me pull this out of the way so you can see just real quick how everything is connected. Again, if you decide on, the CNC Labs machines, I do ask it, use the links that I have. This affiliate gives me enough to buy a burger and a beer. I can take Sarah out to dinner. And same with the airweights, the vacuum table. If you use clamps and CA glue all the time, I do suggest you check out that video and the video I got coming up that shows that you can cut through that and the thing will work just fine. I guess I can take one more question.
All right, let's see. From Ian Z Print Co.
Yeah.
Random question: is there an affordable spindle to replace the DeWalt trim router?
So I don't know about affordability. So I know that Long Mill has a spindle. CNC has a spindle. Now you can buy them off Amazon. PWN has a kit, which I also recommend, where you can upgrade from your trim router to a spindle, which, by the way, I do absolutely recommend. It's like once you go spindle, you never go back. They cut so much better. I've got a link for the PWN upgrade kit too. What I like about this is they've set it up so all you have to do is basically plug it in and it's ready to go. The unit itself, plug it into the control box, is plug and play. So technically it's about 5 minutes to plug it in. Of course, you got to run your hardware and stuff like that. I got the water cooled unit there, so I had to run the water hoses. I had to buy the water bucket, the water pump, all that good stuff. So I bought speed. That's what I do. I don't go to like Amazon, buy something that I don't know is going to work or not. And there she is. Hi. What I do is I buy speed. So I bought the PWN kit because it's set up for that. Just my opinion. You're going to pay more for speed, but it's a lot more convenient that way. Any other questions?
All right. Well, it looks like people are saying that a lot of the stability comes from if you put a shelf underneath. It'll hold itself. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So my girlfriend arrived here, so I am going to check out. We're going to hang out at the pool, swim a little bit, drink some water later on. And with that, I hope this was helpful. Give me other comments, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Please remember to use the links that I provide if you decide to get this equipment. I hope this was educational to you.
The phone's shutting down.
Okay.
I think it's, yeah.
All right, phone's